It's Friday, January 4th, and holy volatility, man. Big down day yesterday, followed by a big update today, basically reversing all the losses. I'm big time in the positive though, considering I didn't lose much yesterday. Actually, I was about flat. I was down about $300, maybe something like that. Well, about even actually. Um, yeah, I ended up even. I did not have the 3% loss, mainly because the silver and gold carried me through and it balanced out all the other losses. Obviously, Apple continues to go down Thursday, but today it had a huge look at this. It's basically a vertical line up. Was up about actually $1,700, not that 1,500 that it shows over here, 1,432. So I'll tell you what I've been done. I'm just gonna give you an update this episode. I'm not gonna do anything special. I don't think. I'm gonna update you on what I did in the trades. I made a really big move, and on this kind of Apple down day, I decided to pull the trigger, and we'll see if I did well. And I actually used a ton of cash, $18,000, to sell a put. I mean, it's a ton for me. You know, if you're rich, whatever, it's insignificant, but it's actually not my money. I've borrowed this money from Robinhood. They're so gracious and nice to lend me this money for a fee every month, of course. So here is the put sell. I sold it for $4,200. I made a lot of moves actually. So I received a dividend here from PNNP, PNNT, Pennant Park. Um, so the moves are I bought back my Apple contract before the big drop, which was, I guess you can call it lucky. And then when the big drop happened, I decided to sell another contract, but this time a year out, expiring all the way on January 17th next year, meaning 2020, not this January 17th, a year from now. So this is a leap. It's a long-term contract, and it's nicknamed Leap. So 4,200 and at 180. So the Apple price has to close above 180 for this contract to expire worthless. And we had a pretty big pop today on Apple, which puts me at, I'll show you in a second what the trade is, but what else did I do? This is just a short-term duration ETF, so I'm gonna keep this money in cash for a while. This is basically the equivalent of keeping the money in cash when you buy this fund, because it basically tracks the short-term duration of the 1 to 3 month um, duration notes. So it's basically like just keeping it in cash, like a cash account. And I don't plan on using it until I want to pull the money, so it's going to sit in cash for a little bit. I want to pull it, so I start selling options on Spotify. That's my next target. Um, what else happened? I sold a put sell on O, the Realty Income company here, and then I also sold weight in precious metals, and this one actually expired, which is great. Expired today, so I've collected some, I think like 40 bucks from it. So that's another good trade there for me. And let's see if this one will expire as well. We're going to find out what happens in a second. So this is how the options have been moving pretty favorably. This is not a $12 yet, so I have a chance for this one to expire as well. It's a $12 Cameco put sell, and if we go to Cameco itself, you'll see that it's at 11.50, so I'm doing all right. This one's losing value, which is good. RSX is losing value, which is okay. Yeah, so I sold a put against RSX for that's the Russian market for January 18th, and now it's gone up today, so that's why I lost 70% of its value, which is great for me. So negative, when I sell a put, the negative numbers are good for me, and positives are bad, and when I sell a call, positives are bad and negatives are good. So anyway, moving on. Look what happened to this Apple trade that I made today. So it was up. This is very important that it's at least flat here, the XK. Um, we'll take a look at the SK for a second, but let's look at Apple for a moment. So it went up from 142 to 148, $6 and odd change. And look what happened to my contract. Up $507 for a total return of 497 here. So I had a 500-day plus, but I didn't sell it. Some people may have thought that I should, and in retrospect, I might, kick myself in the in the teeth for it. But I'm holding on to this contract, and I'm actually, if unless it almost completely erases or a big chunk of it gets erased in the next couple months, the collateral is 18,000, but the liability of the contract is, let's see if I can find it. It's hard maneuvering on this website, man. I don't. Maybe I'm just blind right now. Oh, there it is. So the liability still is $3,700. So from 4,200 to 3,700. And I'm gonna try to, if a big chunk of it gets canceled out, then I will bind the contract back. But I'm thinking I'll probably keep it till the end of the year and let it expire worthless unless the majority of I'm gonna have to make that judgment when it comes to it. But bottom line right now is that I'm up 500 on the trade so far. Let's take a look at that EXK trade. You remember I had a ton of liability on there, and now I only have 336. It was a grand at one point, if you'll remember. So now that's 700 extra dollars I don't have to worry about. And actually, for total return, I'm up $5 on the entire trade. That's not bad at all things considering. Um, so it's still got ways to go, though. I need that EXK to go all the way to 250. It's a 227 right now by January 18th for me not to lose money on this trade. So we'll see if that happens. So far, this has been a very favorable week for me. It was as low as 209, now it's 227, and look at the month, even better from 184 to 227. I don't know if this is. I spoke how silver is gonna pop. I don't know if this is the pop or not. I was predicting a little bit of a bigger rise, but maybe it will just come with time over the next couple months. So we're just gonna have to wait it out before we start turning over some of the precious metals gains into other more productive stocks. Um, all right. So this is my update. Huge Apple move, and also um, parking the money into cash right now. Let's take a look at that fund. I'll show you guys what it is. Is GSY is the fund, and if you're gonna copy me on anything you do, might as well just do this move. It's the safest thing. All right. GSY is the symbol. This is not recommendation or stock advice. It's just kind of what I'm doing, and I'm also joking. But if you look at its path, you can see how it's a smooth trajectory up because this is just treasuries. Look at this perfect line. You see this? It's not very likely that you're going to lose money over time. This is the 5 year. You ever seen a chart like this? That's because it's not real. It's just treasuries. Just re-rolling treasuries. All right, so over 5 years, but though the gain is not that big. Look, it's for $3.50 basically in 5 years. It's not on a $46 investment, so that's not very much. But it's a good way to kind of park cash for a few months or whatever you want to do and not lose it. All right. That's it for now. I'll make another video on Monday probably, especially if it's an eventful day. Have a good weekend and peace out.